Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back for our season finale wrap-up episode for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We know it's Sunday, guys, but you know what? It's all good. Some technical difficulties. We all good. We here. We're still talking about this show because, man, there's been a lot of discourse going on Twitter with this season finale. It's the least rated, I think, episode in the show alone, or maybe in the MCU generality, with like a Rotten Tomato score of like 54 or something. Absolutely fucking bonkers. But man, this episode gave us a lot of things to talk about. Man, let's just jump right into it. I know right before this episode came out, they kind of leaked the new Captain America suit. And luckily, I didn't see it. I don't know. I was on Twitter the entire time. I was low-key kind of looking for it, but like I wouldn't be mad if it like just randomly popped up. But like, dude, I'm glad I kind of waited because his entrance in this episode was so fucking badass. I did not expect the suit to look that cool. And I think I fucking called it. His wings, each individual blade is red, white, and either silver or blue, one of the two. But I was close to the way the suit designed. But I think they also took some inspiration from the Endgame suits. Now, I know the Endgame suits were like fully animated. They weren't real physical suits. But I like to think that they got the white sections from the Endgame suits, which I thought was pretty cool. But I just want to get some of your general thoughts and opinions on the suit alone. I'm gonna go straight to you, Deebs.
I liked it. I was pretty okay with it. They wasted no time to truly like jump right into the suit. I was kind of waiting for some sort of like introduction, or like, you know, you're so used to watching like Batman from the 90s and they're like, they show the whole thing and the belt and the cape and all that. But no, they was just like bang, suit reveal, and it was okay. The suit itself was great. The reveal was great. The only problem I had was the way it was shot. I thought being at nighttime kind of took it down a little bit, and that's my main complaint is that it didn't really get its time. I thought a lot of the action scenes in this, which we'll get to, were really hard to see. There was a lot of shaky cams. There was just a lot of chaos. And I thought that for the suit itself, it looks great, and I cannot wait. Captain 4 was just announced, and I'm really excited for what Sam is going to do as Captain America moving forward. I am more than excited to see the direction of Cap moving forward. We'll get into that again. But for the reveal, it was awesome. For the suit, it was awesome. I just have a lot of complaints about this episode from a visual perspective that took away from the suit itself.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with you, Deebs. But before we get more into that, Loretto, what are your thoughts on the suit and how it was introduced, man?
It was saucy. It wasn't dripping wet like a black one would have been, like a covert black Captain America suit. But you know, for what it was, I think it made sense for what the episode was trying to convey with its message. The fact that pretty much like echoing what Isaiah said, but kind of like putting it back in his face, like, oh, you know, no self-respecting black man would ever be Captain America, you know, with the red, white, and blue. And I think to see Sam in the red, white, and blue kind of made the point, like, you know what, he can do this, he can be this guy. And so I guess it makes sense for the color scheme, even though just like Justin in the comments, I did want the suit to be black. You know, and other impressions, like we'll get into all the story and visual stuff later, but I can't help but actually kind of be on our friend Amanda's side. Her point of view was that, if you don't know who she is, she's on Twitter at AMXNDA Reviews. What's that, Dibs?
I just want to say it was Amanda who pointed out to me, I think Thursday night, that leaks are out, spoilers are out. And I as soon as I saw that, I was gone. I was literally gone from Twitter from literally 1 p.m. on Thursday till I woke up and watched the review or the episode. So thank you, Amanda. AMX NDA Reviews.
Yeah, so luckily, and she also has her own site, Candid Cinema. Go check it out. Yeah, and to answer Brandon's comment, it was comic book accurate. It looked very much like the one we saw in the comics where Sam does take up the mantle. But I will say, to Amanda's point, I feel like this series could have been cut down to a proper film.
Yeah.
I think it would have had more impact and more effectiveness as a film, and it shows Disney's lack of trust in these characters to carry said film. There was way too much in episodes 1 through 3 where we were kind of just treading water, so to say, and some of the Flag Smasher stuffs I didn't care for, and I think if it was edited more cohesively, this could have made a great film. But at least we're getting Cap 4. At least that's coming. Yeah, that's all I have for now.
I want to disagree with you a little bit, Loretto, there about them not having trust of the secondary characters kind of forming into their own films at first. I think the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show just got stuck in a really interesting spot between whether they try to go down the movie route, something that they've done before, or test out new waters on the show. And I think it just got the latter half. I can't see why they wouldn't go with a film, especially announcing one, like maybe an hour or so right after the season finale premiered. So the fact that they announced the fourth one soon after that the show came to a wrap or conclusion, I just don't really think that they wanted to avoid the movie version of this, but I definitely think we're going to get the movie version and then the TV show version. I don't really know how that's going to work, but maybe they'll start transitioning like characters with the shows, like Torres might be the next Falcon in the Falcon and whatever, or I don't even know how they're going to title their shows at this point because they turned Falcon into Captain America at the end. And I think that's what's going to be the title for the fourth Captain America, the Captain and White Wolf. That's what
Captain America and the White Wolf.
Falcon?
Captain America and the White Wolf. That's what the title is going to be.
Hey guys, there was a lot of hype moments, but how hyped were you when you saw the title card change?
Yeah.
Awesome.
It went from the Falcon to Captain America. I was like, yeah.
It was that satisfying moment of just like, yeah, he got that.
That entire sequence made the entire finale for me. That like I honestly, we're gonna talk about it. Like I'm not a big fan of this finale. You guys both know how big into this series I have been. Like I gave Masterpiece 10 out of 10 ratings for a couple of the episodes here, but that Isaiah Bradley sequence leading into the title reveal made the entire payoff for me. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see Mackie doing a fresh squeeze of the Captain America take. And, you know, I think it's important to realize that, like, this is Sam's Captain America. And you know, this is only one suit. This is only the first suit. And I'm sure just like we saw with Iron Man, just like we saw with Captain America, it's going to modify and adapt and change to whatever's, you know, important with the plot moving forward. So I'm excited. I think that's like the main take of this series and the finale is that there was more setup than conclusions. Everything felt rushed. And yeah, I think in Wanda Vision, you had a beginning, middle, and end. In this, you kind of just had it just ended and it was rushed. And for a series that was like build up. And I loved every single ounce of it. And I really want to get into that. I just don't think, just like the suit, it was kind of a metaphor for the entire finale. It was just like, boom, there it is. And that was kind of how a lot of the other plot points were treated as well.
No, yeah, I actually want to add on to what you said, Deebs, and this has to do with John Walker. I think Brandon in the chat kind of said it, but I feel like they made 3 steps forward with the Bucky and Sam and then went 1 step backwards with John Walker. It's just like a massive different character from episode 5. He's not crazy anymore. He's kind of just making smart comments. He just randomly teams up with Bucky and Sam and everyone's just really okay with it. He's kind of walking around in the Cap suit that I don't know why the government didn't take back when they took back the shield. And I don't care what anyone says, but the shield he made should not look like the regular Cap shield. That thing we saw at the post-credit scene at episode 5 was like an Iron Man Mark 1 suit. and Captain America's shield would be like Mark 100. That shit went from 1 to 100 over not even one episode, in between episodes. And I'm just like, bro, what did you guys do? I still like the character, but you guys just made like a massive turnaround for no reason.
But you know, to that point though, that shield got thrashed. It was all dented and
yeah,
broken.
dude. I'm just like, bro, what do you think this is gonna do? Some metal with a bunch of super soldiers? Like, bro, you are a super soldier yourself. Like, do you really think that's gonna work? I just don't get it. I think that was like my biggest gripe with this episode. There was definitely a few more things. I think the best way to describe this episode is had a lot of great moments, but the connectivity in between just didn't seem to be there. I think that was the biggest problem of this episode. Yeah.
I think the effects of COVID really truly hit this show. And like everything felt like movie quality until this episode. It felt like I was watching the CW, and that is the biggest, I think, disrespect I can give the finale right there.
I really want to know how much of this show had to be shot during COVID, because this was already starting being shot like a year before COVID, or at least started post-production or pre-production before COVID, a year before COVID. And this was only supposed to come out last August. And it seemed like I thought they had at least I would say 5 episodes done. I didn't think that they were this behind. And I do agree. I feel like in those latter half of the episodes, I don't know if the Bucky stuff in the 5th episode was sort of like a new scene due to COVID. I don't think it was, though, because if I remember from the first trailer they showed at Super Bowl of like 2020, it had a clip of that. So I don't know, but yeah, when you see characters spaced out more and less interactive with like third-party characters, I feel like that's when you get that CW effect, which is kind of why I stopped watching the CW shows. It felt like they weren't really connected to the world and more connected to the characters bound within the storyline. And I think that is that what you're trying to say, Deebs? Is that your
absolutely problem? Like, yeah, if you have watched the previous 5 episodes, the writing, I thought the storytelling was absolutely terrific, and there was just a stark, pun intended, difference in this finale. I think that is like beyond noticeable. What about you, Loretto?
You're muted.
Now you're unmuted.
Sorry. No, I agree, especially in terms visually, like with the fight scene with Bartok and Falcon. It just didn't look right, and it was like choppy. And then the sequence with Bucky, I forgot who he was fighting, but like the editing was really jarring, like bad jarring. So I really enjoyed it. Kind of like what Ryan said. There's some really, really good moments, but there's also some moments where I was kind of just scratching my head, and I feel like the Flag Smashers finale, their end kind of felt anticlimactic. I appreciated that Zemo was the one to get the last laugh on them, but even Carly's death, like I kind of saw it coming, but it also didn't impact me emotionally at all. Like I felt kind of bad, but the only reason why I thought it had any significance was when Sam made his speech, where he was saying this teenager, this kid was willing to die for this. I think that was more impactful than actually seeing her get killed, and it just. Yeah. I don't know. And then also, I mean, I liked Sharon Carter being the power broker, but that whole sequence where she was tracking Carly down and they had the guns on each other, it just didn't feel right. And it just didn't feel earned. Like Sharon was in this season for like, what, 5 minutes total? Like it was really clunky, honestly. I agree with you guys. It was really sloppily written, in my opinion.
On a positive end, like I do understand the idea of having John Walker. This guy's a soldier. He just wants to belong. His entire life, he's taken orders. He's kind of followed suit. So it makes complete sense that he would kind of stay in this gray area led by Val leading into Thunderbolts. So I get that dynamic. But the problem I have with the storytelling and the direction they went in this is that they built up John Walker as the antagonist, and they built him up and they built him up. They spent time building him up. And I feel like it would have been such a much smarter direction to have it be Sam versus John Walker, or at the end. But first of all, be Carly versus John Walker, and then Sam comes in and like gets in the middle of that, and that's kind of like everyone's watching this fight between John and Sam. I thought that would have been just a more effective finale for what this show gave us.
Yeah,
and also real quick to Ryan's point, it felt like all of a sudden, like John Walker was making good decisions and being like funny, and it was like, wait, he was literally crazy and he literally just murdered someone. Like it just felt so off, like you were saying, Rye. So
no, yeah, and to like all your points, man, I just think this show, when we really break it down, 6 50-minute episodes, let's just say those last 10 minutes are always credits, because I don't know why these shows have such long movie credits. But yeah, so we have 6 episodes. We have Sam trying to become Cap. We have the Flag Smashers. We have John Walker. We have the Power Broker. That's 4 separate storylines into 6 50-minute episodes. Meanwhile, when we look at WandaVision, we had the same amount of plot lines. We had what was happening outside of the hexagon. We had what was happening inside the hex, and we have the past of what happened up into the hex. So we had one less plot line, but 3 more episodes with less time in the episodes. I feel like this show could have kept the 50-minute runtime, but extended it a few minutes if they weren't going to do the movie version of this. Or like instead of 6 episodes, maybe 8 episodes, if they're trying to do these other characters. Because I feel like for 6 episodes, having these 3 quote unquote villains just kind of intertwining, and then you have Baron Zemo in the mix, who is kind of the wild card. You just can't fit all that into 6 50-minute episodes. And I know I griped the WandaVision on being an extended TV show, or extended more than it should have been with 9 episodes, because they were all 25 minutes. But I think that show worked opposite in the way that this one did. That one didn't need the 9 25-minute episodes. It could have been 6 50-minute episodes, but this one needed 8 or 9 50-minute episodes for the story it was trying to tell.
And case in point, Ryan, you're absolutely 100% right. And having that moment of having Sam refuse to fight Carly. How am I supposed to care for Carly when she's had literally 10 minutes of screen time? Like, that was a direct reference to with the Winter Soldier when Steve is refusing to fight Bucky. And Buck in the Winter Soldier, they earned it. They sold it with the first Avenger, then they sold it with the Winter Soldier. Here, it just felt so rushed, and it's just unfortunate because I like a lot of the people that were kind of against the show. I'm not going to say who, but that was kind of my response. Is like, don't judge, because this was a movie. Like this was different than WandaVision. This felt like you're watching this movie unfolding. Let's see what happens with the climax. It didn't deliver, and that's the truth of the matter. Is Carly and the Flag Smashers were a plot device. They were simply a plot device. They weren't even characters. They were a means to an end to get Walker to take the serum and fight Sam, and it didn't freaking happen. And I'm kind of disappointed with that. That was like my main take after the show, was that it was like this bittersweet. I wrote this in my review. It was like a bittersweet ending. I just did not agree with the direction it went. I think they could have done a lot more, and I don't know what happened in the process and creating these stories. I don't know. It just didn't feel. It felt completely detached from the first 5 episodes.
Yeah, I definitely feel like when it comes to this show, they could have completely done without the Flag Smashers. Focus on John Walker taking the place that Sam was supposed to take because of his battalion, not because of who he is, based off what Steve saw and what Steve truly believed was who could take up the mantle, because of the doctor that made him into Captain America told him that the serum only amplifies what's within and not what's without, because whatever's within, it might be dark. You see with John Walker, or at least you see in John Walker up until episode 6 when he completely does a 360. And I don't know, man. It's just kind of infuriating with all the choices that they made. Like I said, would have seen more John Walker, seen that whole debate of who truly is a Captain America. Is it based off what you've done for your country or how much of a good soldier you are? Or is it just based off your goodwill or who you are in the inside? I think that would have been a really cool conflicting argument that they could have had, and not take out the power broker, but use the power broker as like a tease into the next season or into the Captain 4 film, which I hope is Captain America and the White Wolf. But that's besides the point, peeps. That's besides the point. But I feel like we've been dishing on this episode a little bit. I want to give this episode some credit here.
Yeah.
There's something about fluid motion that I just find so appealing. And I think that's why Spider-Man's like my favorite comic book character. But the way Captain America moves in this episode is just so clean. Like, dude, him going through the helicopter, texting the chick, like, can you control the helicopter? Just trust me. He fucking flies through the pilot section and kind of drops the plane. He kind of just tumbles. I like that. I know a few people complained about him making that little shelter on the bridge when I forgot whatever it was blew up on it. But I thought that was cool of him falling and then kind of just going into a little huddle shell to protect him from the blast. It's like those little things that truly make action that much more enjoyable for me, even though someone's not punching and getting kicked in the face or getting smacked in the ball sack or something. Having fluid motion and showing that someone's not unstoppable, because whenever Cap and Sam is going around in the suit, we see that they shoot him down a few times. He's not one for perfection.
I like
and you see that in Captain America 2 in the first 3 films. He's a man that is looked upon to be perfect, but at the end of the day, we're all just people. And in Sam's point, he's someone, but he's also African American in this story, which goes on to my favorite scene in this entire show whatsoever, is the Isaiah Bradley scene in the Captain America Museum. Dude, I'm kind of disappointed that they wrapped it up so fast, but it was also such a great and meaningful moment. I always forget the name of the actor that plays Isaiah, but dude, what a powerful moment of a man who truly lost hope in the American dream and being a part of this country, and showing that a black man can never be a Captain America, wearing the red, white, and blue to stand for the country that he was forced to fight in. And even after saving the people he was supposed to be his brothers, they died, and he still got the blame for it just because of his skin color. And now that person that he was nowadays is taking up that mantle, it speaks volumes. And to have him have his own statue and kind of little history lesson that they post on the plaques, I thought it was just super heartwarming, and it felt like a good full circle moment in the entire season that I felt like was the most completed, I'd say. But Deebs, what did you get off the Isaiah Bradley stuff?
It was my second favorite moment of the series. It was absolutely terrific. I was bawling my eyes out. The Isaiah Bradley character was hands down probably the most fascinating character in this entire series, which I made a top 10 moments article of this series, and I think that's another take is when the best moments of this series include side characters, not Falcon, aka Captain America, or Bucky. That's a problem, but I thought Isaiah Bradley was terrific. I'm excited for where this is going to go because, like I said, a lot of this series pretty much was set up for Thunderbolts and the Young Avengers. Patriot, Sam is going to take him under his wings, pun intended. So that's going to be really fun. But the Isaiah Bradley moment was terrific, man. It broke me down to the ground. I was straight up crying my eyes out. It was just a beautiful, beautiful moment. And it's like you said, Ryan, like there are so many incredible moments in this show. There was just so much filler and there was so much fluff it didn't need. And like Loretto said, to his point, like there could have been so much more cut out. And I wish there was just so much more focus on Isaiah Bradley, his backstory, his relationship in comparison with Steve Rogers, and all of that. Even Patriot, I wish could have had a little more screen time moving forward. But my God, man, that scene, I'm like tearing up just thinking about it, man. That was just an epic scene that the payoff, like you said, Ryan, was finally hit and nailed there.
Yeah. And before we get to low, I want to say that's the thing about this episode is instead of having those big impactful moments coming from the action and having those true brutal fights like we got in the beginning of episode 5 between Bucky, Sam, and John, we didn't get none of that. All the big great moments came from these emotional speeches and talks that the characters had with each other between him and Isaiah, between Cap and the press and the government and all that. But Loretto, what are your thoughts on the whole entire Isaiah Bradley?
Yeah, man. I was right there with you, Dives. I teared up.
Big time.
I teared up when he first went, they were just first talking at the house. And I really liked how Sam said, we bled and helped build this country. So like, I'll be damned if I'm not able to fight for it. It was something along those lines. And I liked that he said that. And also, of course, at the Smithsonian, that final embrace, they'll never forget what you did for this country. And that got me. I teared up twice. Really, really powerful stuff. And like, I don't want to beat a dead horse, man, but you're right. We should have had, I think I would have appreciated seeing a young Isaiah Bradley, like a flashback of some sort. I would have appreciated seeing Patriot spend time with Sam versus just, hey, what's up? So what are we going to do now? Like, and it was just like that one line, like, yeah, we'll see you later, right? But it's like, I feel like we could have had more time with him, let that breathe. And, nothing against Zemo and the Wakandans, which I felt it had really nice moments. I liked seeing Bucky's moment with Ao, whatever. But like, even that didn't really feel necessary to this story. Like, it felt necessary to Bucky's story, I guess, but in relation to Captain America and Sam, it just was kind of left field. Now that I'm looking back, reflecting on the entire season, the Wakandan stuff and Zemo easily could have been chopped, and this story still could have been told. And it's just interesting decision making, So
speaking of decision making, who else's character would have made way more sense to have Io or the Flag Smashers? Rhodey. I would have loved to see Rhodey's reaction to that speech. I would have loved to see his perspective in everything that was going on with all this. So I thought that was a missed opportunity as well.
Yeah, I definitely expected Rhodey to come back at some point after being in the first episode, with Rhodey being the first, would you say, superhero or like another Iron Man, pretty much a Walmart Iron Man? I don't know. Like,
you know
what to consider.
I think in the eyes of the public, I think you're right though. I think Don Cheadle is the first African American hero to be in the spotlight. I think.
I would say the MCU at least, because we did get Blade and all that. But for the MCU, I would say Don Cheadle was the first African-American superhero. So I felt like it was kind of a missed opportunity to not have him experience what it was like to have an African-American man become Captain America after knowing the original Captain America for as long as he did and stuff like that. Yeah, go.
That was the moment and it was so well done. And like, not enough credit can be said about how they cemented Scarlet Witch and Wanda Vision as the mightiest Avenger, and now they're cementing the new Captain America. Because I loved how Isaiah Bradley, the actor, I can't remember, acted his ass off. And
Carl Lumbly.
Who is it?
Carl Lumbly. I just looked it up.
Major props, man. Just absolutely terrific. You could feel like the heart and the emotion coming out of him. Like in the previous episode, he's like, no self-respected black man will ever take up the mantle of Captain America. And sure enough, like him giving that nod to Sam was so rewarding, and it felt so earned. I don't know how they're going to do that, because there's going to be a lot of mantle passing with the Avengers moving forward. It's going to happen a lot. You're going to see it with characters.
You know what's funny, guys? I actually totally forgot about the Rhodey cameo. That's how like disjointed this season has felt. But to your point, Dives, like, wouldn't it have been fun if like Rhodey walked up to Sam and was like shook his hand, like, congratulations, Sam. And then what if he said, like, at least your suit didn't get hijacked? Because remember when he had the Patriot armor?
Yeah.
The Iron Patriot armor, and then like it literally got kidnapped from him. He didn't even have his moment. Like,
that's why I'm so frustrated. Is because like this, I thought, at least for me personally, the writing and storytelling in this show was seamless. Like, I really was invested. I was having a great time, and it just dropped the ball. Is that wrong to say?
No, I definitely think, like, as we talk about it now, my thoughts and opinions have changed on the finale. I think looking at the finale at face value is, like I said, a lot of great moments, a lot of payoff moments when it comes to certain characters like Isaiah, even Bucky to a certain extent. I'd say he had his nice little wrap up. He finally told the old man, I forgot the character's name, that he was the one to kill his son. Like, Bucky got his wrap up, so I'm glad he did that. I don't know why they kind of went back to like that love interest kind of thing. Like, they kind of gave each other that glance when he walked by the bar. Exactly. And I'm just like, I don't really know what was going on. You guys like went on a date and had no connection whatsoever, and you like walked out on her. So I don't know why you guys are like giving each other the googly eyes. And I'm pretty sure the old man just told her that you killed his son, but that's completely besides the point. I want to get some of your thoughts and opinions on Bucky as a whole this season, where you think he started compared to how they wrapped it up with him and Sam as, I guess you can say, partners in a team now. I'm going to go to Lo first.
Yeah, Lo go first.
Yeah.
So this is actually going to be really fun when we do the Versus series, so I don't want to spoil my thoughts, but when you look at Wanda Vision, Falcon, and Winter Soldier, it's interesting how much better Wanda Vision did in completing the stories of Wanda and Vision. And then you go to Falcon and Winter Soldier, and it's like, okay, Sam's Captain America, Bucky got his, what do you call it? His closure, I guess, but it didn't feel right. Like, I think Bucky especially all felt rushed. He had his moments with the therapist. He had his emotional moments. I think was it episode 2 when we saw him with the old man and stuff like that, and like he was scared to tell him, and he had the nightmare. Yeah. So
no, that was the first one. I'm pretty sure
that was the first episode.
Yeah.
Okay, and then he had the moment in Wakanda, maybe like 2 minutes, where we see him like breaking free from his control, but
yeah,
I just feel like he was a little bit sidelined for the most part. Other than those emotional beats, he didn't really do a whole lot. He got his ass kicked a couple times.
To be fair, Vision was literally absent for like 2 episodes in WandaVision.
But what I mean though is like the way that it was written, he still had a complete story arc, and that goodbye with Wanda, aces.
Yeah,
and everything he said, his quotes, like, the love, persevering, and I feel like Bucky just didn't quite have his moments. I think my favorite moment, honestly, was his moment with Zemo, with the gun. But again, that almost could have been left out, and it wouldn't have affected the story. So
almost like Mortal Kombat. There's some parallels with Mortal Kombat here. Like so much of Falcon and the Winter Soldier felt like a prequel and felt like a setup to so many other different stories. And like truly, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Captain America and the Winter Soldier didn't really get to know each other until like the last, the 5th episode, when they finally kind of cemented that bond, and Bucky apologized, and that was an amazing moment. So like this show was sold to us to be this like lethal weapon, buddy cop, a lot of quips, a fun romp. It was not that at all. So in some respects, I fully agree, Loretto, because like I'm assuming there's going to be a second season, and I would be excited to watch that. But it wasn't anything that I was expecting. And the finale kind of just cemented that. Like, I'm glad Bucky got his kind of conclusion. He gave the book away. I love that we're moving away from Steve. I love that we're moving away from the legacy. We paid respect to it, but now it's time to move on. So although that's what I kind of also wanted from the show. So I'm a little kind of all over the place, to be honest. It's hard.
Hey, real quick, right? Because
yeah.
like my thoughts were almost as disjointed as this storytelling of this season. But I want to wrap this up with like a ribbon. I feel like some of the Bucky stuff felt forced because it's Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We have to do something with him. Like it just didn't flow the way I would have wanted it to, especially like the ending. Like I liked seeing him with the old man, but it kind of felt like, well, the show's over, so here you go. He said sorry, you know. And it just he gave the book back to the therapist and gave her a present. The end. Like it just felt thrown in because he is a title character. Like I don't know.
I will agree with Loretto is that like Bucky's best moments were like literally within 30-second periods of screen time.
I think the problem with Bucky in this show is he's just used as the secondary character to keep around as a relic of the original Captain America to kind of have that transition to have Steve's kind of mindset still in this universe because him and Bucky were so close. Bucky is kind of teaching Sam or giving him advice in the ways that Steve would act. So I think that's really the only purpose Bucky has in this, which is the unfortunate part. And honestly, I don't see Bucky becoming more than a secondary character after this show anymore. I definitely thought maybe something after Endgame, especially with the show being called The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I definitely thought they were going to do more of a co-lead, but it definitely turned into a Falcon show super fast after the first episode and put him back into that secondary character, Winter Soldier, White Wolf. And you know what? I think Bucky is good for that side character. I can't imagine them going too much deeper if anyone feels the same way.
Zach has a good comment, actually.
Yeah, I like Zach Goller. Make sure you go subscribe to his YouTube channel right there. Zach Goller, what's going on?
Awesome, dude.
Amazing, dude. I think you guys are doing a Oscar show. Go check that out tonight, right? Oscars tonight. Surprised Bucky wasn't killed off here. Main concern with keeping him around was where does he go from here? Let's get into that because we talked about that in previous episodes, right? I think that like I said, this entire series there was actually more seeds planted for other shows than concluding these two main characters. For me, Bucky personally, I think he's going to be returning to Wakanda. You saw Io make something about like make yourself scarce around Wakanda. I think Bucky will eventually find his way back to Wakanda and will be heavily involved as the White Wolf in Black Panther 2, especially with how the Thunderbolts are built up, because he's also a character working in that like little gray area. And I want to like just kind of finish my thoughts on my last comment is I'm glad that we're finally moving on from the legacy, but I'm not going to lie. Winter Soldier Bucky is my favorite Bucky. When he's going full Winter Soldier, he is so much more fun of a character than this like kind of Bucky that's trying to rehab and find himself. Give me Winter Soldier back, man. I'm kind of tired of this new Bucky.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. And I feel like the biggest thing with Bucky, I don't know if I feel like he should have been killed off or not, because depending on the release schedule of Cap 4 and the Wakanda series we're getting, I can definitely see this going as Bucky goes into the Cap 4 movie with the new Captain America. They're kind of the partners now that they were in the comics with the original Cap and Bucky. And then I feel like towards the end of that movie, something's going to happen, which is going to transition him to go on to the Wakanda series. And I feel like that's how they're going to keep trickling him around the MCU. As long as Zemo is involved, I feel like he'll still be trickled around here and there.
Right. Isn't that like kind of weird that I am so much more infinitely more excited for Zemo and how he's going to impact the Thunderbolts and be like one of the leaders there than Bucky moving forward. Like that's, for a show that's about the Winter Soldier and Falcon, you should be, putting those guys on a pedestal, not Zemo, right? Is that crazy?
I get your point, but also to the like benefit of Marvel, it shows that they're getting better at writing villains by a milestone, because ever since Black Panther, or no, not even since Civil War, their villains have just becoming better and better with Thanos. We've got Zemo. We've got what was his name?
Aaron Carter.
Yeah.
Cal, like a lot of diversity there.
Yeah.
You nailed it, Brian. You absolutely nailed it.
I definitely think, even though we did get a little bit of the side hand with Bucky and maybe Sam, depending on how people look at it, I definitely think they are starting to nail it on the head with the villains, because Zemo killed it in this show again. He's easily the most talked about thing of this show, at least I would say, based off Twitter alone. And he was one of the biggest things to talk about coming out of Civil War II. He's just a great character. He's well written and he's well acted by Daniel Bruhl. And honestly, thank God he didn't die, because I want to see him more. Just like Killmonger, who's also another great villain, man. They killed him off, and I'm kind of sad that they're actually bringing him back for the sequel, because I think it's going to kind of take away from the great ending of Black Panther. But I'm not getting into that.
Wait, is that confirmed?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Wait, what? Did you say Killmonger?
Yeah,
what?
I'm pretty sure Killmonger is confirmed for Black Panther too.
I gotta check that.
I'm checking that right now, because now you guys got me.
It's gonna take away from his death, which was beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's a major.
It's
character.
not on IMDb,
Again,
but I remember seeing it somewhere. I remember seeing it somewhere.
Yeah, like Loretto just said, like it would take away from T'Challa's kind of character development and how that impacts Wakanda.
Yeah.
Well, also the way he went out, he was like, "Why do you want to keep me alive? So you could lock me up?" He was like, "Nah, bury me in the ocean with my ancestors who knew death was better than bondage."
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like just super crazy stuff. And man, I think it's really weird looking back at both the shows that we got now between Wanda Vision and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I know we are, I would say we're a lot harder on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier than we were on WandaVision, but I think that also benefits Marvel and Disney here. Just because it shows that they have that diverse range on storytelling. They can tell us these crazy stories about magical abilities, changing fucking time errors in sitcoms to going to a more grounded, realistic approach on a problem that's very current these days, that I want to say they handled really well with the African-American stuff and just the GCR plot lines. I think they did really well, which credit to them. So even though those kind of go into the negatives, I think overall, when we look at everything, I think it's just building up for a better future. Yep. And I forgot I think it was Loretto that talked about, no, it was you, Deep, talking about how we're starting to set up the next set of Avengers. In WandaVision, Wanda becomes the next like super strong Avenger. She's kind of taking the Hulk's place. Then we got She-Hulk, who's going to be the Hulk, but she's going to be more the brains of the operation. We've got the new Captain America. We got Miss Marvel coming in. We got Spider-Man. We've got Torres becoming the new Falcon, probably. Like there's so much build up to the new Avengers, and we got Haley Steinfeld as Hawkeye coming like within the next few months. I'm pretty sure, like by fall, we're probably going to be seeing Hawkeye. So it's just insane to me to see like we're going through a kind of repilot of the MCU, if that makes sense. It's kind of like starting over, but not really. And I really like the way they're doing it. I do. I think Disney Plus is the future. Oh, Thor's gonna have a big problem with Wanda then.
Dude, I wrote about that.
Dude, that's gonna be
so excited, man. I'm so excited for that confrontation.
Not to get like too off topic, but dude, I'm really curious to see what they do with Thor after Thor Love and Thunder. If they're gonna kill him off and just say or not, because honestly, Chris Hemsworth, dude, he's great, but I don't know how much longer he's gonna be like Thor, especially if they're doing Lady Thor now. I know I'm kind of getting off topic, but that's just a general thought.
So yeah. I did a recap article on this, and part of that was how they're going to treat Loki, because Loki is the next series to come out. What is Thor's like main character arc? Since day one, it's always been about repairing his relationship with Loki. I don't see that going anywhere for the main respect that I see Loki way more than Wanda Vision, way more than Captain America and the Winter Soldier being a series that goes on for more and more seasons. I think that is a series that has super, super potential as just a continuous show, going into alternate realities, dimensions, Loki causing havoc, all that kind of stuff. I think it's going to be a completely different kind of show than what we just saw over the last two. But I do think that Thor is here for the long run here, and I don't see that kind of arc concluding until Loki's arc concludes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and this is still like the biggest question that I have in regards of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show as a whole is I don't think they are canceling or doing a one and done season. It seems like they're doing a second season, but I don't see how that's going to work as the Falcon and Winter Soldier season 2, especially after the end of this episode. We have Captain America and the Winter Soldier now. And I can't imagine them switching the titles for a second season unless they just pull another move out of their ass and just completely redefine the television genre. But that's
you know
just
what would
me.
be fun though is if they like take a page out of the comics and do Captain America and the Falcon, and we build up Torres as Falcon.
That would be cool.
Like what Kevin Feige, if you're watching this show, can we get a Thor and Korg TV series? Because that would be even better. That would be the most hilarious show written of all time.
Speaking of Thor, guys, is he or is he not confirmed for Guardians 3? Because that's what I thought.
He is.
Okay. So Guardians are going to appear in Love and Thunder, and then he's going to appear in Guardians 3.
Yeah.
So that's a lock. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's good. I love Chris Evans as Thor. I hope he does it as long as he can, and even if he turns into like white-haired Thor, like and he looks like Odin, I don't care, man. He is Thor. So
that's it. Like that comment he had to Rocket when he was like, I think it was in Endgame, and he's trying to get his Stormbreaker back, and there was a comment made. He's like, Thanos is the next in line for bastards I gotta take down before the end of my life. Like I feel like that's his character, and it's just gonna keep going and going and going. Like you're gonna have.
That's what he does. He takes those guys out.
Yeah, like that's what I hope. And I would like all right. So I'm gonna like go like literally 10 years from now. I would love to have some sort of like alternate universe where like we're like against Galactus. We're like Galactus Avengers 6.2.
Oh God.
And sure enough, Tony Stark and Steve Rogers and Thor team up together in some sort of like final battle. That would just be like not necessarily like the final battle, but in some sort of way like they team up for one final.
Hey, real quick, guys, I need Zach to put some respect on Natalie Portman's name. There's room for both. There is room for Jane Foster Thor, and there's room for Thor. It's okay.
Don't get attached to her. Don't get attached.
You know
I know,
what?
right? She's probably one and done, but put some respect on her name.
Now, honestly, bro, if she likes working with Taika Waititi, I think she'll be in it for the long run, and I definitely see her being in the MCU more going forward, depending on her character arc in the fourth one. But going back to Spider-Man: Far From Home, I've been seeing a lot of theories about a lot of the characters in this show being Skrulls. How possible do we think that is? Like Sharon Carter, for instance, possibly being a Skrull because of the massive character difference between Civil War Sharon Carter and this Sharon Carter. I don't think she's a Skrull. I just think there was a lot of shit that happened in those 5 years, but that's just me, Deebs. Go ahead.
Nailed it. That was my first vibe, was that Sharon Carter was a Skrull. To see her character pivot from there to there, it made no sense. There's a lot of things in her character that made no sense. But the more I thought about it, the more I kind of like want her to be kind of that like forgotten Carter, because you had Peggy Carter as like, she's on a pedestal. She's like one of the best female heroes of all time. And then you have Sharon, who has completely fallen off. I like that element that you can have flawed characters And I like the idea that like you could potentially build up this like major betrayal moving forward, and because everyone trusts Sharon, and I do think there is some potential there if it's done really well. But yeah, the true takeaway from this finale was: is Sharon Carter going to be a Skrull and part of Secret Invasion, or is she going to be kind of more so just this super flawed antagonist for Armor Wars, which is also in development? So it's either one of those two. I think it's a Skrull. I do think she's part of the Skrull, and she's very likely working for Val or something along those lines.
I think she's going to come back up in the second season. I think they're going to dedicate the movie to John Walker and U.S. Agent now, who officially got his name in this episode, which is cool. But John Walker got fucked in the final episode, but that's besides the point. But Load, any like final little thoughts on where you think Sharon's gonna go and what's gonna happen with Cat 4 and all that?
Well, I really, 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 really hope she's not a Skrull, because I didn't even like it when they did it in Far From Home. I'm being honest. Like, that's gonna get old so quick. And I hope if they ever pull that shit again, they do it in Secret Invasion and they leave it alone, because that it's a Skrull. Like, that's gonna get so old. And in my opinion, I'm already over it.
Well, to be fair, there's like factions of Skrulls. Like, there's not like one collective race. It's like there are like different kinds. Does that make sense?
No, but what I mean is like, hey, look at this human character that has it's very interesting. Haha, it's a Skrull. Like, that's gonna get old fast for me. Like, right. I don't want them playing games. I already didn't like the Ralph Boner thing, and I actually liked Wanda Vision. So I'm not appreciating the sleight of hand here, Marvel. Like, you guys tell good straight stories. Don't be flashing us all this razzle dazzle and then pull the rug out from under us. So in terms of the actual Sharon Carter that we got, I agree. It's very like, doesn't feel right. And it also bothered me that when they welcomed her back, I thought it was cool how they were like, welcome back to the world, Agent Carter. And it was kind of a nod to like the show, Agent Carter. And then she picks up the phone like, hey, I'm in here. I'm going to mess shit up. And I'm just like, what? Like, who are you? Like, oh, God, I didn't care for that. So I don't know. I don't know what she's going to do. I think you're right, though, Rye. I think Armor Wars is a good bet. I don't see her playing a role in a film or anything. So
no, yeah, she doesn't seem like a film villain, or really too much of a villain to me, at least. But
I had a Jimmy Neutron moment.
Go ahead,
blast, guys.
Do it.
What if she picks up the phone? Because I feel like her superpower right now is being on the phone.
Yeah.
So what if she picks up the phone, and then we hear Miss Carter, this is Justin Hammer.
Yes.
I have a proposition for you. You know, like, that'd be interesting.
100%. She's the Kano of the Marvel universe. I love it.
Thinking about it now, I do like the opposition of this show compared to the first Captain America movie. We have an African American Cap now, the opposite of who Steve was, a white man. Then we have a Carter in the story. Instead of good, she is bad. And Bucky, instead of human, he's super soldier, and he's still the sidekick. Like, bro, like, I'd be sad too if I've been the sidekick since 1944 or some shit. Like, I'd be mad too. Like, Bucky, I get your pain, man, but I do like that kind of opposition when you look back at the first Captain America film and to see how things have changed. But is there any like massive things that I didn't touch upon that you guys want to talk about?
I would like to kind of piggyback off of what you just said, Ryan. That is beautiful. You absolutely completely crushed that. And you look at kind of like what Captain America is, and he's more of a symbol of hope and bringing, hope back and light back into this broken world. And I think Isaiah Bradley did a really good job of kind of symbolizing that, of all the cruelty and all the shit that went down between him and the government and all that kind of stuff. And for Sam to be the one that brings hope to Isaiah cemented him as Captain America. And I think that I have no idea where I was going with that.
I guess you can
that makes
say
sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like Captain America is more than just being a super soldier. It's more than being super strong. It's about standing up for what is right and what is good. And I think Sam represented that really well in this show. For all the flaws the finale had, and 80% of this show was absolutely terrific, I think they got Sam really done right. And that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, and to like add on what you said, I think it kind of just like hit me now. If we really want to like go for a stretch here when it talks to comparison characters, you could compare Isaiah to the doctor in the first Captain America film that gave Steve the serum. They both kind of work as these plot devices to give our characters this form of hope that drives them. Like in the first one, he's the doctor to give him the serum is the one that gives him hope to finally be the soldier to help him fight for his country, and then turns him into something way more. But then Isaiah is the opposite, but still giving Sam the same effect of possibly being that African American character representing America. So that might be a little bit of a stretch, but I think it's a good enough opposite comparison.
Kingpin?
Yeah.
Come on,
That'd be
man.
cool.
That'd be so great. Who plays Kingpin in the MCU, though? Because
Vincent D'Onofrio. No
Yes!
one else.
100%.
No one
Hey,
else.
he has to.
Bro,
Has
he
to.
has to.
If they bring back Charlie Cox, they gotta bring back Vincent D'Onofrio.
They have
I mean,
to.
They
Dude, he's
got
so
to.
good.
Bro, the dynamic between the two is too good to leave out of the movies, bro. It's too good.
I didn't know Power Broker was an Ant-Man in the comics. I did not know that. That's really cool.
I didn't know that either. So yeah, she
hey, Zach's
definitely.
spin right now.
I
Thank you, Zach,
I
for
think
contributing to the show.
I think Sharon's gonna be like the head of like whatever is gonna be the Hydra of this season. Kind of just being the person going to location to location, making sure the evil plan is going as planned, you know, like always on her superpowered phone, like, yeah, you know, we gotta go do this. You know what? I'm still gonna be friends with them. Oh, Sam, Bucky, hi. Let's fucking kill him. That's exactly what's gonna happen. I'm telling you. But is there anything else that we kind of felt like we left out or didn't touch upon before we get into our final thoughts, opinions, and grading? And you know what? I do want to add something when it comes to the Marvel section of when we do shows, the shows and the movies alone is I want to know where you guys kind of rank them in your kind of overall MCU thoughts, if you guys have them written down at least, or can do it at the top of your head. I think that'd be a little bit of a cool thing to do to see where we all lie. But without a doubt, Lo, what are your thoughts, opinions, grade, and ranking of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
So, you know, like you said, Rye, we spent a lot of time really tearing this episode apart, but it's not Rotten Tomatoes 54% bad.
No way.
Yeah,
No
like,
way.
like there was enough moments, especially with Sam, and especially during the action climax. There were some moments where I was like, "Yeah, that's my Captain America," and even the guy on the phone was like, "Hey, is that Captain Falcon? Who is that?" No, that's Captain America. Like that was awesome. That there were some cheering moments, and like we already touched upon, emotional moments that, you know, this episode wasn't a disaster. It's just it wasn't what it was built up to be, like Dives was saying. So. Final grade for the finale. I was leaning 7-ish, okay? But you know what? The ending really lifted it up. So I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay.
The emotional weight of giving Isaiah Bradley giving him his justice, his due recognition, I think, was such a powerful moment, even if it was just 10, 20 seconds, whatever it was. And that title card, man, that made the series for me because I was kind of lukewarm going into this finale. I wasn't sure what we were going to get, but seeing the Falcon turn into the Captain America on the title screen, chef's kiss. Mwah, that was freaking excellent. It had Dark Knight vibes all over it. It's just the right kick of like a black screen with like letters, and it just looked good. It looked beautiful. And knowing Sam earned that elevated the episode for me. So I'll give it a good 8.
No, yeah. What about you, Deebs?
I mean, it depends on how you look at it. I think the finale proved that it needed more than 6 episodes. For me, it was just okay. If I had to grade the series versus the finale, that is a different conversation altogether. For me, the best episode was the 4th episode. This was by far the worst. And to be fair, I was really disappointed. I was really disappointed in what they gave us here. Sam's arc was pretty good. Bucky just wasn't compelling enough in total. I thought John Walker was amazing. I thought Baron Zemo was amazing. Yet these characters just completely fell flat here in the last couple of episodes. And I think it just showed that this show was more heavily emphasizing setup and planting seeds for other shows than cementing the arcs of a lot other than Sam, of course, of the show. You look at Captain America 4 is in development. We have the question if Sharon is a Skrull or not. You have Thunderbolts. You have Young Avengers. There's so much going on. This is kind of like Mandalorian season 2, although. Because like Mandalorian season 2 did a lot of that. They did a lot of just like planting seeds and where everything story-wise things can go. I thought that's not what I wanted. Like I wanted this show to be more about character development and a singular story. And it just kind of lost its trail there in the last episode in the finale. So I gave this finale a 6.5 out of 10 on my review, and I'm going to stand by it. If I had to grade the series overall, it's probably a strong 8.5. And to be fair, that's how I did not like this finale. If I had to grade the show without the finale, it was probably like in that 9 to 9.5 range out of 10.
No, yeah, you guys make some great points about this episode and season as a whole. It really had its moments and it had its falls and its faults. I felt like when it came throughout each week, everyone was talking about something that they extremely loved, but then it also seemed like it came with a negative side effect almost. And I feel that way in particularly about this finale. And talking to you guys actually changed my grade a little bit. I did rate it a little bit higher, but looking back, talking about it, I think when I first finished the episode, I gave it like an 8.5 out of 10. But like you said, Deebs, the action was really shaky. The lighting wasn't the best, but it had a lot of great individual moments. Unfortunately, just couldn't connect together as well I thought it wanted to hold, or at least it thought it did. I'm not going to rehash what you guys pretty much just said, but I'm going to give this episode alone a 7.5, and I'm going to give the season as a whole an 8.5. I really loved it, and this is still a banger series.
Oh yeah,
a banger season. I definitely think Marvel still hasn't missed their mark yet when it comes to putting out new things. And honestly, it's just going to get better with Loki, Hawkeye, the What If series, Miss Marvel. That's all coming this year on top of Shang-Chi. But that's besides the point.
My God, how good did that look? That's
Dude, I can't wait to see
what the hell just like for me personally, I had no idea that Marvel's about to drop that kind of bombshell on me. That Shang-Chi looks great. That's I just want to say, like, finish off my final thoughts here. Context is important. When you have Wanda Vision, that was absolutely terrific. Like everything going on with Marvel, the standard, the bar for excellence is so ridiculously high. Overall, it was a really good series. Just finale felt like I was watching The Dark Knight Rises again.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely think that the show didn't benefit from COVID either. I definitely think some things were changed due to COVID, but it's Marvel. They'll probably be like, nothing changed, bro, nothing. But I definitely do like the series. I can't wait to see where these characters go. And man, we have a great episode for you guys. I'm pretty sure we're doing it Friday, right? Friday, We're doing the Versus series. So Friday we are doing the Winter Soldier, Captain America, the Winter Soldier versus the Falcon, or Captain America and the Falcon. We'll just call it now. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great conversation. The four of us are just going to be smack talking it because I know some of us love the movie a lot more than others. But you know what? It's going to be great. And we can't wait to see you guys on that episode of Versus next Friday. Don't forget to be there. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.